We know that Hollywood jumps at the opportunity to revive franchises where they can push agendas and specific narratives, which is why a lot of people have been worried about Dune because it is the perfect canvas to do so. They could shove any sort of messaging they wanted into it on top of what it already pushes, and with the reboot of the franchise, we've known they were gonna be race swapping and gender swapping characters, but the reasons behind them doing so are really pathetic. So I have a couple of different articles I want to read. But before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month or supporting via memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. So I'm going to start off with this Bounding into Comics article. It says the Dune screenwriter explains why Liet Kynes is race and gender swapped in Denis Villeneuve's upcoming film. So the Dune screenwriter John Spates recently explained why Liet Kynes is race and gender swapped in Dune. It says that they first reported that Kynes would be gender swapped back in July 2019, with our source speculating to us that Sharon Duncan Brewster would take on the role, which she is. I did actually talk about this when this situation initially arose in 2019. But it says our information would be confirmed in April 2020 when Vanity Fair revealed a first look at her character. It says in the original Dune novel, written by Frank Herbert, Kynes is described as a tall, thin, long sandy hair and a sparse beard. The eyes were like fathomless blue within blue under thick brows. The blue eyes without whites were a darkness under heavy brows. He also added wisps of sandy hair protruded from it, matched by a sparse beard and thick brows. Beneath the blue within blue eyes remains a dark stain spread down to his cheek. A matted depression across mustache and beard showed where a stillsuit tube had marked out its path. Now, I usually do not support gender swaps because it's taking the original material and twisting it. It's disrespecting the original material that new shows and movies are based off of, and in this case, we see that the character was gender swapped. It says now the film's screenplay writer has explained why he decided to gender swap the character, and of course, it's an absolutely ridiculous reason. It says, speaking with the LA Times, he stated, Herbert's novel is to some extent an artifact of its time, and it definitely skews males in a way that they don't feel completely contemporary now. He continued, of all of the messages in the story, the message brought by Liet Kynes of planetary stewardship, of the preciousness of resources, of the necessity of building bridges to local communities to sustain ourselves going forward, those are modern messages, and it seemed right to modernize the messenger. So what does this mean exactly? That a white male is invalid? A white male telling a story or a point is just as valid as a darker-skinned female doing it. This idea that modern messaging can't be told by a white older man with a beard is absolutely idiotic. Is this writer equating bringing people together and creating peace to only females, basically saying that these in the modern day aren't male traits? I thought that one of the messages coming out of more woke ideas is that gender roles are wrong and they're pretend or don't exist, and now we've got a writer saying that these roles are feminine but not masculine? I can't figure out how this writer thinks this makes sense. It is a mixed messaging. Both men and women can have these characteristics, and there is no reason to gender swap Kynes from male to female based on the reasons that we're hearing. When it comes to female characters in Dune, some of them were already really powerful and important. I think that Herbert was very much a feminist in his own right. Just look at the Bene Gesserit sisterhood or Lady Jessica. It's like they're ignoring the rest of the story to try to come up with a reason to gender swap this character. They just wanted as many females as possible, as much diversity as they could get into this story, so that's why they ultimately decided to gender swap this character. And while we're on the subject of females in Dune, I also wanted to bring up this next article quickly. It says the Dune actor Rebecca Ferguson, who plays Lady Jessica, pushes feminist message while marketing the film. Dune actor Rebecca Ferguson recently decided to push her own feminist message while marketing the upcoming sci-fi directed by Denis Villeneuve and based on Frank Herbert's well-loved novel. I have Dune right here. The whole series is behind me. I do really love Dune, and I was excited to see this film and to see what they were going to do with this franchise. But, of course, it seems like this is a movie where they just tried to make it as big and bold as possible. They tried to throw as much messaging into it as they could, and now we have actors marketing the film with their own feminist messages. It says Ferguson, who plays Lady Jessica in the film, did a video interview with a YouTuber, infamously known for trying to bait Henry Cavill into describing his fans as toxic. Of course, not the best source to go to if you want to do an interview. But it says at around the 11:15 mark in the below video, he says, "I'm in the middle of reading Dune right now, and I'm sort of in awe of how much this story belongs to and is driven forward by Lady Jessica, because in the year 2021, we as an audience, we tend to flip out anytime we ever get a well-written, strong, beautifully developed female character because it unfortunately doesn't happen as frequently as it should." Now, he's referring to people freaking out over characters that are Mary Sue's, like Rey. For example, in Star Wars, people did not like Rey because she was a Mary Sue. If we look at Lady Jessica, she is not a Mary Sue. She was written a very long time ago, and she's a very well-developed written character. She's a great character in this story, and she is very important, and that's why I don't understand why all these characters are being gender swapped to, add more females to the story. We've already got plenty of strong female characters in this. It says, "Praise him, it's incredible," Ferguson responded. At the same time, it's not even close to what equality should be, funnily enough, yet we praise the fact that he was close and that's good enough. Well, it's not. Ferguson continued, "But I think it's wonderful to be able to embody. It's funny one isn't because we talk about equality and we think she's so strong and powerful, and she is. At the same time, she's not in the room that makes the biggest decisions. Yeah, she's just behind the scenes manipulating everything, creating chaos so that everything goes her way." It says, Hamilton then interjected, "I look forward to the day where it doesn't have to be a conversation anymore." And she said, "That's the thing, or where we compliment and when we go, 'God, well done. We nearly put the woman in the seat. Isn't that amazing? Good for us.'" She then brought up a previous interview question she received. "I got a question where someone says, what is it like when you have those masculine attributes?" And I thought, what, being a mechanic? But it's not just to criticize journalism or conversation. It is the society. It is what it is. There's masculine traits and feminine traits, and and I know exactly that we know what to put where. The point is that it doesn't have to just happen anymore. We can just be very cool because we're very good at something we do, and I feel that with Jessica. It is genderless, even though, yes, she obviously is a mother. She has created a child, but her powers, her attributes, her strengths, her decisions are human and powerful for what they are. And I wanted to read a portion of another interview that she did. She said, "I do know of what I remember Denis saying to me. He tried to stay as loyal to the book as possible, but you also need to adapt it to a 2021 audience." Whenever we hear about a movie being made for a modern audience or something being modernized, we know usually it's gonna be a disaster. It says, especially with how women were perceived and how they were written in the 60s. She needs to be so much more relatable, and I don't know if that shift was hard for them to do. It felt very natural and easy reading for the script and acting it. I don't understand this because Lady Jessica is a mother, something many, many women relate to. She's strong, she's independent. While yes, she's not in the room making all of the big decisions, she is behind the scenes making tons of decisions. A lot of the story does really revolve around her. I mean, she is the one who birthed Paul. I just don't understand why they had to say, oh, we needed to adapt it to a 2021 audience. We have this amazing female character and other great female characters in this movie. I still find it laughable that some media outlets, specifically GameSpot, accused Dune of having a white savior complex when one of Frank Herbert's messages was don't idolize people and Paul is no different. They know nothing about Dune because a large part of the book is about how colonialism is bad and how it's a cautionary tale against things like worshipping heroes because all heroes will eventually let the world down. In the end, yeah, Paul accomplished a lot, but he ended up being a failure. Even Paul's sister, who was forced to become the imperial regent of the Atreides Empire, failed everyone. As a female, I really like the female characters in Dune, and I think they're strong in their own ways, and I don't think we needed to change characters around to be more relatable in 2021. I think that this is absolutely ridiculous, and the reasoning for race swapping and gender swapping characters here is dumb. But that's all that I really had to talk about in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.